Yeah, because I'm so unsure whether this internet connection is going to work or not. I am waiting a little bit. We'll see if we get a few people on here, and then I'll know it's working. Um, I decided to discuss some world events tonight, and that's what I'm up to here. Let's see if we've got anybody. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so this is up and running. Again, I want to apologize if I'm walking on anybody like Monograph or Felicia Lockhart or those types. Jackson Hinkle too does his presentations mostly at night, but I'll try not to take too long. But I just had to make a few comments because hello everyone. Obviously, I'm getting pretty flabbergasted and pretty frustrated because our government is and most of the Western governments are just totally out of control as we've seen. Anyway, the title of this video is that ODNI Haines is a tabloid reporter. Now, if you don't know who that is, Avril Haines, who was in the intelligence community, I suppose, for a while and has worked in the government for a while, that's who Biden put in as his director of national intelligence. And I am not impressed, and I hope none of you are either. I don't think I need to get into any details. Mostly, I just wanted to call her what she is a tabloid reporter. She's either a total lackey of the intelligence community that will do nothing more than just move her lips according to their dictates, or as I would more likely suspect, she, along with almost everybody else in this government, is about destroying liberty, about destroying truth, about promulgating lies, and about basically preparing as many human beings as possible for annihilation. That's how I view her, and I know that's a very sad state of affairs, but that just seems to be the situation. Our illustrious Department of State Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has said that we are prepared now to use nuclear weapons in this situation in Ukraine, and of course Putin, who has their entire program there in Russia is not to be the ones who do a first strike, but Putin has said, and I certainly understand his point, that if they detect that we're starting to arm and load nuclear weapons and prepare them for use, that they will strike. This is not going very well, and Blinken needs to be run out of D.C. on a rail, as do most of those other people. Sorry about the interruption; those are going to happen. I forget to turn those things off. But this Haines lady, man, I thought Bolton was bad. This lady, she a tabloid reporter is, and actually that's an insult to tabloid reporters. I gotta say that she's one of them. I won't say much more about it. All I can tell you is that she's about as full of turd waste as an outdoor latrine. Okay, that's about what she is. Call it sexist if you like. I don't really care. By the way, I'm having something. Somebody the other night when I was doing a live stream said, "Hey, have some scotch and I'll have it with you." So I'm having a little scotch here. If anybody wants to join, I haven't had but one little sip like this so far. So uh, keep your comments to yourself if they're nasty. Okay, I can come back. I'm fully up to the task, but I don't really want to do that tonight. Okay, and I was also notified by YouTube that they removed another one of my videos. It was called Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. And anything that I have come out with, I've noticed that this has been the trend for me now. Uh, I don't even have to talk about the medical stuff much anymore. I mean, I don't know why they give me passes on that. Maybe they're just getting ready to lower the boom. I don't know. But they're really concentrating with me on my um, criticisms of the intelligence community. That's where they're coming after me more than anything else. They call it hate speech. Remember when they took down, I told you last, I think it was early in the fall, maybe it was in the summer, they took down one of my videos where I was critiquing the FBI and calling them out for what they are, which is a corrupt criminal syndicate. And the FBI, the Intelligence Committee, had YouTube take it down. And we know they're doing that now. We now know that the Intelligence Committee, the FBI in particular, was working with Twitter, right? I mean, that's, and we knew this anyway. These are not revelations that should shock anybody. The fact is that the United States government considers you their enemy. Not really Russia, as I pointed out, really not China, you know, it's you. It's the American people. Because you're the thing that really stands between them and their empire and their new world order and their digital surveillance system with currency and all, well, no currency with the digital currency and all that. Twitter still has my IP. Yeah, I don't doubt that. What is that? I can't quite read it, so I don't have my glasses. I guess I could put them on, but maybe if we get to some question and answers, I'll put my glasses on. Have you seen the sabotage? Have I seen the sabotage? Are you talking about what's happening in Russia? Are you talking about what's happening in the United States to our food processing centers, which is still ongoing? And to our electrical grid, our own electrical grid. And they're going to try to say that that's being done by right-wing, conservative, Christian extremists. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Yeah, the electrical grids. Yeah, those are happening here. That's baloney. That they would blame it on people like us, most of you that are here. Where is the video about Mormon Church, Roy? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. If you're talking about the one that I did about 2 or 3 days ago, let me refresh your memory. Oh, yeah, this is Glenn Livett. Okay, this is Glenn Livett 12. All right. Good call, by the way. Who did that? Chris Hinkson? Yeah, Glenn Livett 12 is what this is. Okay, Redbird. I've never had Redbird. Sounds pretty good. What YouTube has done, not only have they continually removed many of my videos, and supposedly on Odysee, they're supposed to stay there and not be removed when YouTube removes them. But I've noticed that Odysee hasn't really followed through with that, and quite often, I've noticed that when YouTube has taken a YouTube one of my videos down, it's also no longer on Odysee. So maybe Odysee wasn't the answer after all. And I don't want to go to Rumble. You know, you really, when YouTube finally boots me, I'm not really worried about it. You know, I've done my job, like I said some time ago. I've done what God and my conscience have required. So it's really not a big deal to me. But regardless, they asked about that, the 1 hour I was talking about the church. You'll have to go back. What YouTube has done is I have my channel, right? And then I have my home page. Then there's a video page where videos are listed. And then it'll say shorts, I think, and then live. Well, that didn't used to be like that. I don't even know if I didn't know there were shorts that I could do until just recently. But it used to be that all my videos, whether they're live or recorded, would show up on the video line, right? Oh no, not anymore. What happens now is when I do these live streams, they go into the live category along the top there, again, where it says home, videos, shorts, live. Okay, so shorts, I'll go where the shorts are, and the shorts are, I guess, like 2 minutes long. If I do a video, it's 2 minutes long. I haven't done but a couple of those, and one I deleted, and I should delete the other one if I can figure out how to do it. But at any rate, so if I record a video, it goes up on the video line, but all the live videos that I've done live stream go over now to the live category there along the top. So you have to click on live, and then all the live ones will come up, the ones that they put up. And if you go there, you'll see the one, I believe, I talked about the church problem on several of them. The last one probably being on this situation with the deal with the law, the new statute that's out there that the Mormon Church says it will support. on the different types of marriages that are going to be acceptable. Okay. You just go look for it. I'm not going to really talk about it here. That's not what I'm up here for. But that's the reason why you won't see a lot of my videos on the video line. You have to go to either the shorts. And like I said, I've only got one of those on there, I think, right now. That was a mistake. Done a couple years back, I guess, and they put it up there. And then go to the live if you want to see past live videos. Okay. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the one. Uh, I could probably look it up, but then I'd have to get my other computer out, and I don't want to mess up the live stream here, so I won't do it. But it's about 2 or 3 back under the live heading up on the top there of my channel. Okay, so again, they continue to remove anything where I've been critical of the intelligence community, particularly the FBI, and I guess that's going to continue. Again, we're the enemy. They don't believe. Our free speech means nothing. You can't be critical of the government, but that's what we're supposed to be able to do. That's really how this thing was set up. Was that if the government got out of control, you're able to do something about it. But no, now the whole apparatus has been put there, of course, so that we can't do it. Unfortunately, to synchronize my Odysee account with my YouTube account seems to mean just that. If you'll upload copies, but if a deletion happens, the copies. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, but that I was initially told that would not happen. Odysee originally told me that when I got on Odysee, and it was actually at Patina, if you remember Headlines with a Voice, Nancy Morgan Hart, and her real name was Ursula Brancato. Anyway, Patina Ursula Brancato. The agreement was that they would hold those up there and keep them there on the channel, and that has not happened. So, like I said, it's not. It really doesn't matter to me. If I had maybe, I'm just saying, millions of viewers and stuff like that, I might go over to Rumble. I might do some of that. But if you can download my religion series if that's what you're interested. You can go to any of the playlists. All of my videos are completely free for you to use, as long as you don't change them so that you can take clips out and things like that. Just make sure that you're not altering it so that you're changing what I said. That's the important thing. Okay, the bottom line has got to remain the same. So go back and record any of those you want. Have I done it? Not for all of them. It's again, it's just things are transient, and what's been put out there, like what I do here, it's out in the universe. They can't erase that, even though if they take it off their systems and whatever, it's still out there. My words and my testimony and what I've said are permanent, even if they're not on YouTube anymore. But go ahead and record anything that you like. Keep it, put it in an archive, whatever you want to do, that's fine. And yeah, that doesn't surprise me about Odysee. I think that changed. I don't know if somebody got to them and they decided, okay, we're not going to do that anymore, or maybe it was just never really the case to begin with. But anyway, that's where we are. So they removed Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. Okay, I got notification of that, and like I said, that was a commentary on our situation, like I often do. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the ODNI, Haines, how a person like that gets in that position. It's because they want to destroy the United States. Look at Biden. It represents our country as the president. How embarrassing is that? And our entire structure is that way. And I realize, for most of you who follow me, I know it's to destroy the United States. We get so disgusted with our government that we don't care if it goes away. The principles were abrogated a long time ago, and so now it's just the finishing touches. There is no saving this, and I've talked about that before. Don't even think that that's going to happen. It's not. Okay. They thoroughly destroyed it, and that's what they want to do because they don't want liberty to shine anywhere. They don't want liberty to be shown what it's really like. They want people to be subservient. They want to go back, at the very least, to the serf system, if not to the slave system, if not to just your total annihilation. And the only answer to this, I'm afraid, is something like what's happening over here right now, because as I said, and as Colonel Douglas McGregor has said, and Scott Ritter and several others, we don't stand a chance against them. Not there. And our economies are falling even now. We're having lots of problems. It's not the Russians taking out our electrical grid or even Ukrainians. It's your illustrious, beloved government agents. That's who's doing it, or people being paid by them. That's who's doing it. Because they don't want you to exist in liberty. They don't want you to have abundance. You're the ultimate target. And they've been coming after you for years, draining your blood with these endless wars in perpetuity with no purpose other than just to bleed you and your sons and your daughters and to steal your money and to give it to somebody else. And this was all planned out. And I know people from back in the 40s, well, they're not around anymore, who knew about this. They had documents from the 1800s even talking about how this was going to be done. If you think the American Civil War was about, guaranteeing the freedom of all people, boy, they fooled you. they fooled you. That's not what it was about. Not at all. It certainly wasn't about stopping slavery. It certainly was not about that. That just became a political mantra. There were two mantras during the Civil War that Lincoln had. Did you know that? He said that, and this was long after the war started, even after the Gettysburg Address, okay, with that Emancipation Proclamation, which was only for the southern states, it had nothing to do with the northern, where some slavery continued, but that's another story. Like I said, I'm a trained historian. This stuff doesn't get past me, okay? But old Lincoln, who everybody thinks was such a good president, and some of you might think that he was right to say this. I'm not going to get into that argument tonight, but he says, our task is to do away with the twin relics. By the way, I'm not drunk. I'm just I'm just doing a little drama here. We have to do away with my goal is to do away with the two relics of barbarism, slavery and polygamy. Well, I suppose at least on that latter one, he should have talked to a bunch of his Northern Army generals and, a lot of the politicians in D.C. who really were doing that, even though they weren't calling it that, but they were going to send cannon and stuff to Utah to do things to them. Well, they weren't in Utah at that point. Well, they were. Yeah, they got there in 48. But anyway, 47, 48. That's another story, but the hypocrisy abounds, and it abounds today. They can go out there and they can have their illicit relationships, but don't you do it. Don't you do it. At least don't do it in the way that it would be at least semi-proper. If you do it wickedly like they do and they can get their claws into you, that's okay. Kind of like Epstein, that kind of thing. No, I knew this was lost some time ago, and it's more apparent every day. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yes, of course. I'm not going to mention the one name, but of course Biden has had Russia do a prisoner swap. And again, I got to be careful how I say this, because even though I don't really care if they take me down, I do like the message to at least have a chance to get out, right? So I'm not going to say the first name. You all know who it is. It's the female basketball player, the female athlete that got arrested there in Russia. So we traded her for a known arms dealer. A guy who planned on killing Americans. Get this. At least that's the propaganda. Who really knows? But that's what it looks like as far as the Russian arms dealer. But guess who Biden didn't get released? Former Marine veteran Wellen. So all these movies and all these statements about we won't ever leave anyone behind. Remember Mr. Wellen, Marine veteran Wellen, who's still rotting in a Russian prison. Somebody who did something for this corrupt government in D.C., but because it's not politically expedient for Biden, he got out. The female basketball player was arrested on a drug charge. I don't care whether the charges are bogus or not. The point is that Marine is still there in a Russian prison. And we can say the same thing about Trump doing what he's done to Assange and Snowden, right? Just as an example, or the January 6th protesters when he could have taken care of that, immediately at the time. It's all a show. They're all against you. I've given a little bit of benefit of the doubt over the past, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe longer on Tulsi Gabbard. Well, that's gone now. High Impact Flicks, Brian, and I knew this, but sometimes, I don't keep up on things and I forgot about it. So Tulsi Gabbard got on a program, I forget the guy's name, Dix, I think is his name. No pun intended. I think that's his name. He's an interviewer, and I might have that wrong. But I think she essentially said the same thing on Tucker Carlson, but certainly on this one, where she said, well, when they put me on the WEF forum website and said that I was one of the young global leaders and all this, I didn't really even know it was there. I didn't really. And then when I saw it, I thought, oh, how dare they? Well, then why didn't she demand that they take it off? So, in other words, she got on there in 2015, and Brian of High Impact Flicks actually found a thing on either a Twitter account or on some other account of hers where she was grateful. She said she was grateful to be a part of the WEF, and she was saying this about the same time this post on the WEF website went up, saying that she was a part of it. So she actually said that it was a good thing and that she was proud of it. And now she's trying to say, well, I didn't really know about it, and too many things have been said about it, and it's really not true, and I was never really there. I never went through the Young Global Leaders program, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Tulsi, why didn't you do something about it in 2015, 16, 17, or even 6 months ago when I got a hold of you and I said, you really need to fix this, or we can't believe a damn thing you say? Well, Tulsi, I now don't believe a damn thing you say. You've turned into a politician who has the lying disease, and you've turned your back on what an officer is supposed to be. You are diametrically opposed to truth, and you latch on and you promulgate lies. So I no longer support you in any way, shape, or form. I don't care how beautiful your speeches are, because I told you that you needed to disavow the WEF in no uncertain terms. And also your little pretense about supporting the First and Second Amendments. Can't believe those either now. They're just opportunistic speech now so that you can get to a place where we'll put you in, like we did Trump, right? And then Trump does a lot of bad stuff. He did some great stuff. Well, if you're a Trumpite still, I think you need to reevaluate what's going on. I'm not saying I like Biden. I'm not saying I just came after Biden. But it's real obvious that these people that get up there have no concern about you or about the Bill of Rights or any of that whatsoever. We're on our own, ladies and gentlemen, like I've said. You're going to have to gather like-minded people around you. Pray, stay out of the way, and don't fall for all these people that are obviously federal informants out there trying to gather anything that you might say and use it against you and turn it into something you never intended. Yeah, that happens. So, Marine veteran Wellen is continuing to rot in a Russian jail in a drug addict female athlete is brought back to the United States in exchange for a Russian arms dealer. Haines isn't the only, DNI Haines there in the White House. She's not the only tabloid reporter, tabloid participant. There are no grown-ups in the United States government anymore, and Putin's going to destroy most of them. And unfortunately, many of us with them. Because once those people in those positions in the U.S. government realize that they don't have anywhere else to go, they're going to do exactly what they're doing now. They're going to turn their entire military and intelligence and police apparatus into you because they just want to hurt people. They just want to hurt people. If they can't hurt people over here, or over here, or over here, or over here, they turn it on us because they're bloodthirsty, psychopath, sociopathic criminals. And I call them out as often as I can. All right, what else is going on? We've talked about the sabotage. It's not conservatives. I doubt very seriously whether it's Russians. It could be somebody like Ukraine, right? Ukrainians trying to foment trouble here against the conservative base that is against what part of the conservative base is against the situation in Ukraine. My friend Guy Bouillon, the French reporter, the French journalist up in Canada, has been put on the kill list, the Ukraine kill list, along with a lot of other people. I don't want to mention names, but I need to mention him. He's a courageous man. He interviewed me, has carried a lot of my information, has sent it around the world, and now they've threatened him that they need to assassinate him. So if you know about Guy Bouillon, he's on Twitter. It's spelled Guy is G-Y or G-U-I, G-U-Y. It's like Guy, but it's pronounced Guy in French. He's French-Canadian. And Bouillon, B-O-U-L-I-A-N-N-E. He's a French-Canadian journalist whose stories are carried worldwide, particularly in Europe and, of course, in France. So he is now, he even said he might have to appeal to Russia for protection. So, and that's probably about the only place he would be, because Canada's not going to protect him, and neither is the U.S. All right. So those kinds of things are happening. I mean, compared to what's happened to Guy, YouTube taking off my criticisms of the intelligence community and those other things is minor as far as how it affects me. But this is major on Guy, and I pray for him, and I suggest that he take all precautions as possible. A lot of it's just that comes out of that crazy country over here. Is just blistering nonsense, but it's still concerning because you never know when some idiot's going to take it and run with it, right? Be they Ukrainian or not. So, just something to be concerned about. The situation with oil obviously is getting worse. The EU is nothing more now than a tool, than a serfdom of the United States. The U.S. is the puppeteer, and they're just doing crazy things over there. They're destroying their own people, supposedly so they can get to Russia, the big bad bear. Well, and they even want to cut off China now. The fact of the matter is, and you've got to remember, I've said this for a long time. I just said it earlier in the video. The real enemy is you. The real enemy is the people of Europe, Western Europe, the people of the United States, the real people. I don't mean the rulers and all that of Australia, New Zealand. They're out to destroy them, and they're using this whole situation here to blame everything on so that they can destroy you, take your livelihoods, take your money, take your very lives. That's what it's about. It's just a cover, and I hope you all understand that. I've talked about it ad infinitum, and now here it is. So The next time you hear one of these politicians say, Russia, 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 say, Biden, 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 Congress, 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 intelligence community, Department of Defense, because that's who's really doing it. The American banking system, the British banking system, that's who's doing it. Let's see, what other situations are going on? We already know about all the debauchery that's going on. They're still trying to push all that on your kids, and those types of people that are pushing that onto your kids and all that, they actually have more rights than you do now. You're not permitted to protect your children from that. You have to submit to it under threat of the FBI coming and kicking in your door and putting guns in the face of your husband, wife, and kids. That's what you've got now. It used to be we protected children and families against these type of encroachments. Not anymore. All right. We've seen a situation, and I don't know all the details on it. It's one thing that's happened. This is quite a bit, actually, that's been going on. This is apparently in New Jersey, I believe. The police came in and closed down a small restaurant there, and supposedly it was because he was still selling liquor when they had taken away his liquor license. I guess that's another issue that was going on there. But it all really came about because of the situation with the shutdowns, and he refused to shut down. So they sent the police in there, and the police, he's giving him a tongue lashing on Twitter. I don't have the link for you. Some of you may have seen it. He's giving the police a tongue lashing, and some of them look like they're embarrassed. Some of them don't. But the bottom line is, the blue line is there for you. Not to protect you, but to force the illegal edicts of BC and of all of these different liberal, Marxist, social Darwinism, Marxist ideologies on you. If you don't accept it, then you're the enemy. So the United States has been gone for a long time. Well, America has been gone for a long time. The United States has now become the USSA. All right. That's probably, I've gone on for 30 minutes now. I mostly wanted to talk about oh, hi, Lori Tillman. Well, thank you. Yeah, and like I say, you might. It's very possible they'll take all this down before long, and I'm not going to go through and do anything. I mean, I've got a few things recorded, but most of it for me is up here. Somebody could stop me on the street and say, "Hey, what's this thing? What's this difference between a covenant and an agreement or whatever? What's the difference there?" Like I did the other night. That's all up here and in here. So I don't need to have those for reference material. I could go out on the street and give a sermon, bring my stuff and or teaching, however you want to call it, and talk about any of these subjects. So I don't need to have it for that. But if you all want to keep it, I suggest you start copying those. Okay, it might be a good idea. So thanks, Lori. I appreciate that, and I see you quite a bit, and a lot of folks on here do that, and I appreciate it. Jan, we the people. I want to show to my Mormon friend that is about to leave the church. Yeah, well, the Mormons should be leaving the church wholesale right now with what this idiotic, demonic president of the Mormon church has just done. This Nelson dude, and I called him out, and you'll see that. I forget which video it is. I've done so many of them, but you'll see it. I think I even mentioned something about Nelson in the title. So if it doesn't, it'll be something similar to that. So yeah, but you got to know that's just one aspect of it. There's so many other things. By the way, I still haven't heard about my autobiography, whether or not it's going to be out by Christmas. I haven't heard anything. So I'm not sure that they've gotten to the point where they're ready to do sales. But again, When they are, whether it's then or whether it's after the first of the year or whatever, I'll let you know if you want to know, because that's probably the best way to kind of get an idea about why I did what I did and my feelings on it, and certainly about the corruption in the Mormon Church. And it's bad. Okay, it's bad. All right, do the Rumble thing. I don't know about that. Akashic record, yeah, that's another way of saying that. The record in heaven. Yeah, my all of the stuff that I've done is in the record in heaven. I miss Nancy Morganhart. What keeps me awake at night? Yeah, Chris Hinkson. Yeah, she was such a dear friend. I think about her often, and her voice was the thing that got me. And when I first heard her voice, I thought, wow, that's just so amazing. And that of course was the thing that the hook that got me. And then I heard her reporting, and it was just above and beyond anything. And then when I never actually met her in person, but when we finally started talking on the phone, and she was kind enough to send me, I don't know if you remember this story, Mr. Hinkson, but Chris, uh, I had never seen her. I didn't know what she looked like. And Edelson James, if you remember him, he died of cancer about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But um, I was discussing one of her uploads, and apparently she was watching it live. I guess it was a live stream I was doing. And Edelson James came on and said, "Well, what does Nancy look like? I'll bet she's hot." And I had never seen a picture of her, so I didn't know. But I said, "Well, she sounds like a wonderful person, and hopefully I'll be able to meet her someday or something like that. I don't remember." And Nancy calls me up, Betita. She calls me up and she says, "I'm going to send you a picture of myself and it's beyond my judgment. It's beyond my better judgment, because I don't want people to look at me and look at how I look and consider that over what I say." And I won't tell you everything that she said, but basically she said, "I'm going to send you my picture." And she said some other things which I won't repeat. And then she sent me her picture. And I went, "Oh my gosh, she is absolutely gorgeous." And of course, then she said to me, "And now that you've seen my picture, you can tell these assholes that you've seen me, and that I'm nice looking." I'll just put it that way. And of course, that's what I did. But yeah, she gave in and wanted me to know that what she looked like, and I so appreciate that even to this day. Her voice and her appearance were just wonderful, both. So thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Oh, and that's very nice of you. Eternal extrapolations. That's very nice of you to say. When people say that, I get nervous. Remember what they said? "Well, Jesus, you're good," and he said, "I'm not good. There's only one good, and that's our Father in heaven." Now, I know where you're coming from, but uh, yeah, that worries me a little bit. Always be a little skeptical. Okay, always. It's good for you. All right. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Bliss. Hey, Bliss. How you doing? Oh yeah, Jim Baker there in. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The FBI. They've been. They got Baker there into Twitter, and he was holding back the information that Musk wanted to have released. And fortunately, the two reporters that are going through that figured it out. Whether we'll actually ever see it, I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. See, so they've been taking stuff off of Twitter. They've been taking my stuff off. I'm surprised my FBI corruption series on the playlist is still there, but they have taken a few of them down. And like I said, this is ongoing. Uh, they took out one that I made, and I forget the name of it now, but it was about January or February, I think, if I remember. They took it down. They said it was for hate speech. All it was criticizing the FBI. That's all it was, and that was hate speech. See, so yeah, Baker could have been even involved in that, of course, or people like him. Um, Yeah, Chris, that's right. You destroy a country from within, and our political leaders are rotten to the core, all of them. I don't care who you name at this point. There, okay. Well, there are a few exceptions. I do trust Massey pretty much. Ron Johnson seems to be pretty good. Louis Gohmert. Uh, I can't really name any senator that I have any real. Well, I guess Ron Johnson's. Well, anyway, there are very few, a handful of them. Certainly nobody in the White House at this point, or in any of our departments, which most of them are not constitutional anyway. There shouldn't be a Department of Justice. You know, I don't mind there being a DOJ and an FBI if they're going after crimes that are committed by federal employees or under federal contracts with the federal government. But that's not how they're being used. They're used as a Stasi police force, of course, against people who don't go along with their Marxist views and their social Darwinism, etc. Yeah, and we need to get out of Babylon. How? Well, that's not easy, Karen Walker. You just got to do it in increments. Take your kids out of school is an easy one, actually, frankly. Um, you know, moving out into the country, growing your own food, and there are more uh, important things you can do that we can't talk about here. But basically, it's just getting away from the system as much as you can. It's not easy, and I know it isn't, but you have to at least be in the process of trying to do that. Okay. I'm not going to get into some of these things. I'm trying to stay off of religious stuff tonight. I think I've done a lot of that lately. Uh, that's not a her. I'm not sure who Rebecca Ann is talking about, or not Rebecca Ann. Tracy Benson's talking about somebody. I'm not sure who she's talking about, but anyway. Yeah. Basketball is more important than a soldier. Well, no, it's not that at all. You know what the real reason is, right? This is proof that no one should go into the American military. No one. Because they don't give. It's just like Kissinger said. You all, people that are in the military are just, I forget the exact term he called them, but basically just expendables, of no use to anybody. And there was a really derogatory um, term that he used, very very much a pejorative, which I don't recall right now. But they don't give a rat's ass about you. Look at what's doing with the mandates. I'm not going to go any further than that. You know, no, they don't give a rat's ass. As a matter of fact, the idea is to destroy what's good, that's left, that's good in the American military. Uh, yeah, that's very possible, Chris. I realize that. There are lots of things going on behind the scenes. I know that. I know. The arms deals and the money transfers and the money laundering and all of that. Yeah. Like I said, we're the enemy. They're doing this to destroy us. Very much so. I don't think Karen that they're talking about Tulsi. I mean, they could be, but I think they're actually talking about the DNI. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to go there. All right. Yeah, I finally had to turn my back on Tulsi, and I told her that today. I told her that today. I gave her a chance, and then she lied about the WEF and her involvement in it, with proof that came out by High Impact Flicks by Brian. And I actually had seen that before, and I'd forgotten. So, yeah, no, we're done with that. I'm just going through here. Sorry about all the noise that makes when I do this. Tim Martin, about the king of the world. Actually, Trump has more of that than anything else. What I will say is that Edgar Casey, if you know who Edgar Casey is, Edgar Casey made a statement that Russia would save the world. Something to that effect. Not Putin distinctly, but that Russia would. Well, with the debauchery, the degeneracy, the corruption, the thievery, the murders, the lies rather, from here and here and Brussels. All right. Uh, it's like I said, God uses other nations to destroy the corrupt ones, and that's not saying that the nation that does the destruction that causes that does this is good. Like the Assyrians weren't good that took out Israel, but the point is that a major a national military force is going to be needed to take this down. And they're doing it anyway. Biden's pretending to stand up for Ukraine and all that, but again, it's as I said, it's not even Russia. I mean, the neocons, the Trotskyites are after Russia, sure, but you're the final target. And you can't forget that. Everything that you see happen, remember, you are the actual target. Always look at everything from that point of view, and then you'll have it about right. Where's the damn meteor? Yeah, I'll say it here. Nothing that happened on January 6th, nothing arises to the level of seditious conspiracy. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I do blame Trump, and I blame Alex Jones and Ali Alexander and Michael Flynn. That's what I mean about Michael Flynn. For an intelligence guy, he sure doesn't look down the road very far, or else he's complicit in this entire thing to destroy us. A lot of people aren't going to like me saying that, but I've been saying it for a long time. Yeah, well, yeah, and they're not only held without due process, they're using the idea of insurrection and all that to get around. And there are some things that are, habeas corpus, and some of those things are the suspension of habeas corpus can happen under certain circumstances, but none of this arises to that. None of it. None of it. I don't want to go there too far. Look up Jesse and Julie Kelly on Twitter, and they have their own information too. They've both been, especially Julie, has really been following this thing in January 6th and has done an outstanding job of showing the corruption, the lies by the DOJ and by the government. Okay. Oh yeah, I haven't seen the report, Gary Morganroth, about the depopulation. Uh, there have been quite a few of those. There's Deagle.com. There's but you can see it. I mean, um, Zbigniew Brzezinski made a statement once, oh, and so has Kissinger. Kissinger's talked about controlling population by controlling the food and reducing the population by force, using that just as an example. And that was before all this other medical stuff came out, pseudo medical. But Zbigniew Brzezinski said that he said it this way. He said, "In years past, it was easier to control 1 million people than it was to kill 1 million people. But gleefully," he says, gleefully, now it's easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control 1 million people, and then just expand that out to everything that's going on. And that's how they view you. The story of this interjection of an evil seed into our world is manifestly true. These people are not fully human beings. And they've instituted a system now where they're trying to change you so that you're not human either. And you know what I'm talking about. I love that lady. She educated my husband and I years ago. You mean Nancy Morgan Hart, Bettina Ursula Brancato, Monica? I guess that's who you're talking about. I cannot tell you how wonderful she was. And there were two people in the YouTube community and maybe elsewhere. There were two people that probably knew her pretty well. And Felicia Lockhart was a very good friend of hers who actually they became friends, I think, in about 2017, maybe earlier. Um, uh, I didn't. I mean, I knew of her, but I didn't actually get to know her the same way Felicia did until I guess it was 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, I think. Hi, Sugar Dave. I'm not going to get into Daniel tonight, okay, or any of that other stuff. Um, Lots of reasons why we probably shouldn't tonight. I wanted to kind of, because I really haven't gotten into other things in the world situation. I really, and that kind of applies, but I really wanted to stay out of that right now. Okay, Bettina, yeah, it's spelled Bettina, Monica. Bettina Ursula Brancato. Nancy Morgan Hart was her basically, her pseudonym so that she could protect her family. And Nancy Morgan Hart was a hero from the Revolutionary, a lady hero, heroine from the Revolutionary War. How old was she? She was 50. I think she was coming up on her 59th birthday, 58th birthday. But she was gorgeous. If you saw my tribute to her, uh, I mean, in the picture, I'm sure it didn't even do her justice. I saw some other pictures of her as well. That was kind of a selfie that she had taken, but oh man, unbelievable. Yeah, she wasn't 60. She died before she was 60. She was 58. She was born in 62. Born in 62, and she died in 2021. So she was and that was just before her birthday was in September, and I think she died just before her birthday, her 58th birthday, if I recall correctly. Rand Paul, yeah, yeah, maybe. I wonder about him too. His wife was really invested in all this medical stuff, and he didn't really get into it like he could have. But maybe, yeah, maybe. I just don't see a whole lot of anything up there that's worth a dime anymore. I really don't. Yeah, there was no red. Well, there was a red wave, but we don't want to get into the election thing tonight. Obviously, there were a lot of problems. Uh, Part of it because and those who are in the know will tell you this. Uh, the Republican National Committee is very much at fault for that, especially the Republican chairwoman. They're not your friends. They're about their. It really is a false left right paradigm. They're after you. They're after your money. They're after your blood. They're after your land. They're after your property. They're after your children. They don't give a rat's ass about you. Do not serve in the American military. Do not serve in a police force. People say, well, we got to get people on the police forces so that, we've got good people in there. Hey, it doesn't happen like that. I mean, if you're in a small department somewhere or you know the sheriff, and I'd be real careful of a chief of police, but if you know the sheriff and he's a good guy or she's a good guy, whatever, maybe. But to just go and do it, no. No, you're doing nothing but contributing to evil. They're calling evil good and good evil. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. Tracy Tracy Benson, oh, the basketball player. That's not a her. You could be onto something there. Okay, we've gone for almost an hour. Sorry I didn't get to everybody. You like spiritual discussions, Sparky's Run? Yeah. Well, I just figured we needed to get on some of this stuff that's going on. The Great Reset is going forward. That's really what all this is about over here. And I cannot emphasize again that you are the target. I can't overemphasize that. So just keep that in mind, okay? Yeah, there's another subject I could touch on, but I think I'll wait for that, and we might do another little spiritual discussion. I'm finding I might mention this. I actually started following this lady on Twitter, and then I thought, no, I better not. People will wonder what I'm doing that for. But I found a lady on YouTube, young lady. She's probably I don't want to say how old she is. I could get in trouble for that. She's a young lady. I'll just put it that way. Um, and I don't think she's married. And she gives really advice. She came on YouTube because she could see how men were being hurt, and women, with all this crazy stuff that's going on, trying to separate us. And she came on to try to help young men and women understand each other. And she does an outstanding job, outstanding. And she'll get into some of the risque stuff too, which I think is okay. She's an adult and she's basically talking in enough veiled terms that I think it's okay. But regardless, she's doing a really good job. And I think that's interesting because that's been my push now, as you all know. My concern about the destruction of the male-female relationship as being the real crux of the matter of what we're going through, and it's been that way since the Garden of Eden, if you want to believe that, as I've explained in all of my presentations. I'm really happy to see people, especially women like her, coming out. She understands the problem that men are going through and how they've been put down and emasculated. And then when they want to approach a woman, they're told that they're evil or that they're perverted or that they're sexist or whatever. And also on the other side, how women are being told how men are bad and, that kind of thing. And she's trying to, in her way, mend that break. And I think there'll be more of that. When you have what's happening, especially in the United States, when you have things swing this far, eventually it's going to go back unless the destruction in people's minds is so complete that there is no way back. And I think that has a lot to do with our current medical procedures and stuff. They're trying to make it so that those things happen. For instance, I mean, the Senator Schumer, that little snake, and for that matter, there have been some others, but Schumer was saying that, oh no, we need all of these people coming into the country. I'm talking between the lines here, because our birth rate's down now. We need to replace the workers. These people are sick or demonic or crazy or traitors or all of the above. Okay, everybody, I'll go ahead and go. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground, situational awareness on high. Get out of Babylon. Even if you can only get like 1 or 2 steps out, do everything you can to get out. It's real obvious that that's what this place is. It's been for our experience to see how a good thing can be destroyed very easily because of first of all, the leaders, how bad the leaders can be, and they can lead you down the wrong road, but also because the people aren't vigilant. They aren't valiant for righteousness. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Everybody take care. We'll see you later.